Yo, what's up, everybody? Thanks for coming back. This is Street Smart Sarge here with another Virginia's Gangster Files. Yeah, today's gangster is going to be three guys straight up from Richmond, Virginia, and they call themselves the Newtown Gang or the New York Boys, but we're gonna call them the Newtown Gang today. So let's get into this story about the Newtown Gang. Yeah, let's go. Three members of a drug gang allegedly linked to 11 murders in 45 days was found guilty in the first case in which a federal prosecutor used a kingpin law against multiple capital defendants. The defendants received the death penalty or life in prison. This is the story of the Newtown Gang. In 1989, a new law was created. Federal drug kingpin statute made murder during a continuing criminal enterprise a capital crime. Corey Johnson, James H. Roan Jr., and Richard Tipton was charged with capital murder operating a continuing criminal enterprise, a capital crime. Prosecutors alleged that they operated a cocaine ring in Richmond and Virginia Eastern Henrico County. The prosecutor asserted the gang sold huge quantities of crack in one Richmond neighborhood, the Newtown neighborhood. The government charged that Johnson, Tipton, and Roan directed the loosely knit Newtown Gang, which peddled huge quantities of cocaine. People called it "cook 'em up on the street" in Richmond and Eastern Henrico County. Now that's when the times was early in the game, and that's what they called that joint, "cook 'em up." Have y'all ever heard of that? Let me know. Hit it in the box. Corey Johnson. In early 1992, Johnson went on a killing spree, shooting and killing each of the 7 victims for slight or rivalry in the drug trade. Johnson shot one victim at close range, ordering him to place his head on the steering wheel. Johnson shot and killed a victim at the victim's home when he failed to pay for cook 'em up. And Johnson also murdered the victim's sister and a male acquaintance. Johnson, a member of a crack cocaine ring that began in New York and New Jersey in the late 1980s, expanding into Richmond. Corey Jackson was executed by lethal injection at the federal penitentiary in Terre Haute, Indiana. The date was January 14th, 2021. Now, he had caught COVID, and what they did was they put a hold on his execution, and not just his. It was a few other people they put a hold on. So the judge overturned the hold, and they went ahead with the lethal injection. The 3 men were all labeled as the leaders of the Newtown Gang. The group regularly purchased cocaine from New York and drove to Richmond, where members cooked the substance into crack and set up a distribution network based in the city's Newtown neighborhood. That's where their base operation was at. Johnson and Roan were convicted of 27 and 15 counts, respectively, including murders. Sandra Rivas was found guilty of single count conspiracy. Rivas was not charged with any other murders and faces at least 10 years in prison without parole for her role in selling the narcotics. Tipton, whose stepfather's hometown was Richmond, also known as Whitey, was billed and pointed out by the prosecutors as the gang leader, alleged that he killed or ordered killed a half dozen Richmond residents who crossed his path. Now, there's also another slang story about a gang member sitting in his car was stabbed with a 12-inch military knife more than 80 times in the neck, face, and head. 3 of the blows were so fierce that the blade burst through the victim's skull. Now that is scary. You know, to have people out here in the streets that feel like they don't have to follow no rules. You know, they don't have to follow the laws or anything. And if you act like that, eventually they got a place for you. Now, after the gang leaders were locked up, underlings were carrying out murders and threats to witnesses against Tipton. Douglas Cunningham, serving 10 years on a cocaine conviction, said Rome sent a message to a woman. Now, he told on Rome he would give her $10,000 if she didn't testify against him, and said there was a $10,000 hit out on her if she did. Now, the woman testified and is now in hiding in the Federal Witness Protection Agency program. Among the violent murders, according to testimony, there were so many violent murders, so a man fatally, according to the testimony, a man fatally stabbed after he was shot inside a house and dove through an open window in an attempt to escape. Rome caught up with him in the yard and stabbed him 18 times. These guys were just off the chain. Now, there was a woman who owed the gang a few $100s in drug debt. This is typical. Always happens. Was fatally shot in her cousin's house. See, that's why in that game, man, it's cold-hearted in the game. 2 men were fatally shot along with him. See what I'm saying? In another incident, a man was shot 15 times and killed because a gang member thought he had sex with the gang member's girlfriend. Them guys was just killing. If you crossed them, or if you disrespect them, or if you was on the other side, you wasn't riding with the Newtown gang, they were going to put you out of your misery. And then they were going to do it violently. It wasn't like they only shot you, 1 or 2 times and boom, that's it. These guys were dropping shells, putting lights out, using knives, swords, military knives, machetes. They was using weapons to execute their hits. They basically had Newtown, on lock. The only people that told, I guess, on the gang was the gang. Once they got, the conspiracy for the drugs, so they gave up their leaders, and seemed like it was a wild bunch. This one had all the streets in it. Tipton and Rome are still living on death row at the same facility that Johnson had his execution. They will have their execution at the same place, but they haven't sent their date out yet. Now, all of the info that I obtain comes from the internet. I do this because I love what I do. So thank you all for your support. And please subscribe to the channel, like all the videos, and share all the videos. And leave a comment so that we can get in touch with you and interact with our followers. We would like to get in touch with. We would like to interact with y'all. This is Street Smart Sarge on the #1 hip hop media channel, straight from Southeastern Virginia, Greedy Tycoon Media, and we out. Holla. The government don't care.